personal example, and this is what made me realise that there are values in what we do. Last year I was working as a mentor to a very experienced social researcher who was doing her first evaluation, and it was an evaluation of a program that delivered support to children in their family homes who have severe aggressive behaviour. So after this social researcher, let's call her Sophie, so after Sophie had done her first interview, we did a debrief, and she was telling me how wonderful this program was. The parent she'd interviewed thought it was fantastic. She got exactly the support that she needed. And I said, what was the particular support that she needed? Sophie said, the child is 5, it's her first year at school, going to primary school for the first time, and she has to catch a bus. Mum has 2 other kids at home, and it was really difficult to get the 2 other kids ready, to get her disabled daughter ready and escort her on the bus. So what the caseworker did was did a Google search and found you could order restraints from USA so that the child could be restrained on the bus, so that she could be put on the bus restrained, and at the other end she could be removed from the bus by teachers, so the mum didn't have to do any escort service. The reason why the restraints were needed was because the child, Melissa, hadn't been away from home before, so she was quite anxious on the bus. Quite anxious about the change in environment, and she would self-harm. So my first reaction to that is I have a personal value that says 5-year-olds are escorted to school by an adult or an appropriate person that takes charge of their care and hands them over to a teacher or another responsible person. That it is really annoying and inconvenient to take kids to school, but that's part of the responsibility we have to protect children. So that started making me ask questions around what's the nature of the provision. And that's where professional values start kicking in. So to me, restraint is a measure of last resort. So I started asking questions like, what happened before you got to this point? So what services were in place to support the child? None. Okay, so if restraint, in my view, is a short-term program, what's happening afterwards? What's the way out of this? None. Well, what behavioural support is the child getting? No. What was the risk management if something goes wrong on the bus, if there's an accident? So I should point out it's a public bus. If a paedophile sits next to the child, if kids pick on the bus, what else happens? Nothing. This caused quite a conflict between me and the social researcher, because her approach was it's the parent's decision and they think it's fantastic. My approach is that the child isn't getting the best support that she could, because a lot of steps should have happened that the mum wouldn't reasonably be aware of. So we had quite different values on what was acceptable practice. And it's only when you start talking about them that you start being able to use them. So normally I'm used to working with teams where I have the same values. So it was only when the values were different that I realised the problem I had. So the researcher told me when she does research, she doesn't bring her values with her. She parks them at the door. Whereas to me, the values make you ask the right questions. So while the program that was being evaluated wasn't to evaluate the clinical care, it was to look at things like staff training and development. So there are issues with the training of the caseworker. It was to look at partnerships. So there are issues between the partnership with the behavioural support team. It was to look at eligibility into the program. So there'd be an issue about whether that child was appropriately supported. So there's a whole range of things that the personal judgments make you ask that actually help you get a better understanding of how the program works and what potential issues are for the program.